Hello, good timers.
Hello.
As you can see, we are not in Vegas right now. We are not in Miami. We're not in Belize. We're not on vacation at all. We're in the Goodspeed homestead. That's right, the Good Timers Mansion, we like to call it. Actually, we don't call it that at all.
Mini mansion.
Yeah,
Mini.
we just call it our house. So here we are at our house. But this is going to be a different kind of vlog coming up here, guys. I just wanted to do a little introduction before the vlog started. And basically, we're going to be doing a week in the life of a chemo patient. So if you're interested in what I go through on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, then tune in. And if you're not, then I would say tune out, because this one's not going to be the Good Timers productions that you're used to, we'll say. This one might be a little bit more on the not good time scale. But I'm doing this basically for you guys and for myself and for those that might need it. So I think doing this will help people to better understand what I go through on a daily basis and what other chemo patients go through on a daily basis as well. And if you're unfortunately one of those people that might have to have this done in your future, then maybe you'll know a little bit of what to expect. So obviously every kind of cancer is different and every kind of chemo treatment is different. Mm-hmm. Each person kind of has different symptoms, different side effects, things like that. So it might not be the same for everybody, but this will give you a general idea of what I go through. So this is basically Chemo Eve. Tomorrow I'll be getting my chemo treatment. This will be treatment number 4, cycle 2. And as far as how many cycles I'm going to be having, I don't know. I guess it depends on how much the cancer shrinks and that kind of thing. So for right now, we are on cycle 2, and we've been doing chemo since September, early September. So we've gotten one cycle out of the way and halfway through the second cycle. So basically today, as you can see, I'm feeling pretty good, feeling great actually today. Looking pretty decent, I should say, if I don't say so myself. I'm pretty good looking. But you will unfortunately probably notice a little bit of changes after chemo. So that's kind of what this vlog is about, just to see through what I go through, what chemo does to me for the week or so. And yeah, so we'll get started pretty much tomorrow morning. I get the chemo appointment at 8:30 in the morning, so we'll wake up and turn the cameras on. The only place I won't be able to bring the camera is in the hospital itself. So because I can't show the other patients and things like that. So, but I will try to show you as much as possible and try to be as honest as possible and show you guys what my daily life is like. So far it's pretty good. I got my wife here in my lap, so can't get any better than this, right?
He never lets me sit in this chair. That's the
I
only
do.
time.
This is actually my cancer chair, guys. You'll be seeing a lot of this chair in the next coming days. We'll say this is pretty much where I spend most of my time, simply because I do get kind of weak and tired, and this chair is pretty damn comfortable. So this is where I spend most of my time. You guys will see lots more of that chair. And we got my little desk set up over here. Got my pills. As you guys can see, I take plenty of pills. Probably take, let's see, anywhere from 5 to 6 every morning and anywhere from 4 to 5 every night. So some of the pills I only take every other day. Some of them I take every day. Sometimes I take them twice a day, etc., etc. In addition to these pills, I also have a couple of nausea meds that I take, some chewable vitamins, calcium, zinc, things like that. So all that stuff helps to keep me hopefully somewhat healthy during chemo and to keep my strength up as much as possible. So we will see you guys tomorrow morning. And the last thing I'll say is that Simone will say something first.
Oh, I was just going to say bright and early tomorrow
morning. Bright and early tomorrow morning. There you go. Last thing I'll say, guys, is that if you do have young kids, you may want them not to watch, all right? It's not going to be, like I said, the most uplifting. Some of the stuff is going to be kind of gross. May not be suitable for younger kids. Obviously not going to be as fun as, some of my vlogs might be. So take that into consideration, but hopefully you'll join me here for the next week and see how this chemo treatment and journey goes. So we will see you guys on the other side. It is Tuesday morning now, and it's chemo day, so I just got out of the shower here and got myself dressed here, but I wanted to show you where they're going to import the chemo. You have basically your choice when you get cancer. And you can either have a port placed, which is basically a plastic little cube that they put underneath your skin, and then they put a catheter to it, and the catheter goes to the veins, and then they can access that port whenever they need to inject you with the chemo fluids or take your blood samples, things like that. So you can either do that, or you can do it the old-fashioned way, and they can stab you in the arm about 150 times. So if I didn't have that port in, or if I didn't have this port in, then basically they would have to stab me 5 or 6 times just on a chemo day alone. So that would obviously make your skin pretty sore. So accessing this port gets pretty sore as well, so they give me this little cream to put on the spot about a half an hour to an hour before we get the chemo, and then it kind of numbs it a little bit. Still feel it, but it's not quite as painful. So I will show you where the port is a little bit. You guys can kind of see that. Sorry, I did shave my chest here for you, but so you can see that port. You can also see the catheter, where the catheter goes a little bit underneath the skin there. So that's what they're going to access today when I go to chemo, and yeah, we're just going to put this cream right on there, and we will hit the road here in shortly. Thought I'd show you my chemo bag that I bring with me. So this is the bag that I bring in there every day, and it's got all the essentials. It's got the bag, this is the chemo hookup is going to go in later, and this is going to strap around me. It's a nice old fanny pack, and I wear that for 2 days basically. And yes, I do wear this to bed as well, so I'll show you that later when they get everything hooked up. But bring that with me, because obviously they can't hook it up unless it's with me. And then we get my Kindle headset to go with it. Got my cell phone in there somewhere. There you go, cell phone. And then we got a little notebook, because we do meet with the doctor every start of every cycle, or every round I should say. So if she has anything important to say, we can write that in there. And then of course I got my medicines here in the Ziploc bag. So that's everything I bring with me, guys. Keeps me occupied for 3 or 4 hours usually between that and just listening to the nursing staff. And yeah, so that's what it consists of. We'll be at the hospital here in about 10 minutes.
You should mention that.
Mention what? Oh yeah, this thing. This is a port protector, guys. So basically it's a little pillow that connects to your seat belt and goes right over where your port is in your chest. So that way it doesn't hurt quite as much, because the port area does get very tender after being poked, prodded, and stabbed. So this helps that out a lot. So, all right, we'll see you in a bit. Alright guys, and we're arriving now at the hospital. Like I said, this is Rainton Fairview Hospital in Skowhegan, Maine. It's just a little regional hospital, but it has a full oncology department, and they're great over there. Nurses are awesome and very friendly, so they make the time a little bit more bearable. But yeah, we are here, so we will see you guys here in about 4 hours. All right, guys. So I'm back at home now. It took let's see, it's about 2 o'clock now. So I get done about 1:30. So it took about from 9:30ish, 9:45ish till about 1:30 to wrap everything up. So about 2 hours worth of chemo. The other hour, like I said, was spent with the doctor, and the other hour besides that was basically spent getting pre-meds, Benadryl, and some fluids in me, and some pain meds and nausea meds and all that good stuff. So all in all, about 4 hours, and for that part of the chemo, and I got, I think, 2 different medications today, maybe 3, I'm not sure, but then they send you home with the rest until Thursday, and then Thursday we go back and get the chemo that they sent me home with detached, because right now it's attached to me. And let me show you that so you know what I'm talking about. I'll have Simone take the camera so you guys can see. So, awesome fanny pack, just like you wear in the 80s. And inside it is this ball of chemo med. So right now it's basically the size of a lemon. Feels solid like a lemon. So it'll shrink down over the next 36 hours or so. And you'll see it basically shrivel up like a lemon. If you left it in the fridge too long and it started to get rotten, that's pretty much what it looks like. So, but it's got cords that come out. And that right there is about the entire length of the cord. But it goes all the way up my stomach and right into that part that I showed you earlier. And then right into directly into my bloodstream. So, but yeah, so you got this much cord to work with, guys. And yes, that includes sleeping. I do sleep with this on. And obviously you don't want to roll over on it. You don't want to roll over on this because it'll squeeze the chemo out a lot faster than it's supposed to. So it basically releases chemo, I think, every 2 minutes or something weird like that. But you can see it going through the tube if you look really closely, but you don't need to look at it. But that's basically how you tell it's working, is you just got to kind of look at it once in a while, look to see if the ball is shrinking, look to see if this fluid's coming through the cord, and if all that's happening, then you're all set to go. So guys, it's almost 5 o'clock here in the afternoon. Simone is making my favorite chemo meal.
Mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. That's right. And for some reason, as soon as I started getting the chemo, my love of really sharp cheese kind of just disappeared. I'm not sure why, but I like the nice mild cheeses now for some reason. So anything too strong in flavor isn't my cup of tea at the moment. Although I still like tea too, but once again, not as strong as I used to like it. So.
And wait, the classiest of them all is the.
What? Oh yes.
This is what we eat now too.
Yes, and I also eat the ramen chicken flavor. Doesn't really matter what flavor it is. The ramen noodles in general are very good. So yeah, those are my 2 go-to as far as chemo meals go, guys. So as soon as your taste buds change, sometimes you got to, sometimes you start to like different things. So these are the 2 favorites that I like, and tonight is mac and cheese night for me. So there we go. All right, good timers. So it's just about time for bedtime here. It's about 9:20 at night. Simone is just filling up our humidifier there, and basically we started using that because of all the side effects of chemo and drying out your skin. So my face does get very dry. You can see it right now, especially on the top. It's actually looking pretty good today, and on the side right there, it's actually looking pretty good. But give it about another 3 or 4 days, and you're going to see it breaking out really, really bad, unfortunately, and it does itch like a son of a biatch. And yeah, you'll notice that, I'm sure. Also, fingernails, you probably can't see them too much here, but they get very brittle as well, and the hands dry out also, and the feet dry out also. So the other major thing is that I get a bloody nose, and that dries out completely also. So lots of dryness here involved in the chemo. It's a side effect they don't usually tell you about, but a lot of chemo people have it. So we plug in the humidifier to try to help that a little bit. Not sure if it really works or not, but either way, it's a good noisemaker for the evening. Helps me sleep as well, so that is what she's doing there. Next thing she's got to do is actually tape me up, and she's going to help me build my fortress here at the bed also. So when you're wearing this chemo bag that I'm wearing right now, you certainly don't want to roll over the middle of the night on it. And, you know, if you do, that's going to be problematic. So we're going to try to avoid that by building a little chemo fort. So this is my side of the bed. I got myself a nice big-ass pillow here. That way I can stretch right out as well. Something to rest my head on back here. But now we're going to get the fortress pillow, I'll call it. Build ourselves a little wall here, because I'm going to build that wall so I don't roll over onto my chemo port here or the chemo bag. So I'll unhook the chemo bag. I'll put that actually on the pillow. So show you that here. All right. So first of all, what I do is I fix my side of the bed a little bit. Then the pillow goes pretty much right there. And that's what I'm going to use. So I'll unhook the chemo pad here, or the chemo bag, I should say.
Fanny pack.
Once again, I've got some extra cord inside the bag, so we're going to get all the extra cord out of there as much as possible without removing the entire lemon. Make sure the lemon's still in here. Yep, lemon's still there as you can see it. Alright, so I'm going to zip that bag back up. I've got all the cord that I could possibly have at this point without ripping everything out. So next thing I'm going to do is just double check, make sure I gave myself enough room to actually sleep and toss and turn. I used to sleep on my stomach all the time until this happened, but I try to avoid that now for obvious reasons. That cord we just kind of do that with. But yeah, that bag sits right here, and that way I can roll over here and then kind of stop before I get onto my stomach. Or, if all goes right, I can sleep on this side, which I usually do, and still have enough cord that I'm not going to pull on anything here, because that will hurt if I pull. So that's where Simone comes in. She's going to take this cord up to my stomach here a little bit. So that way, if I do pull on it, it's going to pull on the cord down here first before it pulls up here. So far, this has worked out pretty good for us. And yeah, so let's let her do her thing and tape me up. All right, guys, I'm kind of whispering right now. It's actually day 2, but it's only 4:30 in the morning. I've been awake since about 3:30. Unfortunately, insomnia is also something I tend to have during chemo. Usually lasts only a couple of days, thankfully, but yeah, I've been known to wake up at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and this morning it was about 3:30 a.m. that I actually woke up. So I'm just out here on the computer looking at the Facebook and trying to make myself tired again, basically. Usually by staring at the screen long enough, I'll get tired and be able to fall back asleep. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. Talking low because Simone is hopefully is sleeping in bed, but she can hear a little bit of everything, so I'll probably wake her up even talking this low. So, but yeah, good morning. We are on day 2. All right, good timers. Good morning. Second time. I was awake already this morning, as you saw at 3:30 a.m. I'd like to say I fell back asleep, but I didn't. So I laid here in the recliner forever, but I didn't actually fall back asleep. So I'm going to guess there's going to be some nappy time here later today. But in the meantime, though, wanted to tell you about some of my symptoms today. Pretty much everything is the same today as it was yesterday, except now I've added hiccups into the side effect regimen. So hiccups are something I've been dealing with ever since I first started on the chemo treatments way back in August. So they come and go. For the most part, I have them usually the day that I'm getting the chemo. in usually about 1 day after. So mostly just had to record this after I got rid of the hiccups, but I wanted you guys to be able to see firsthand what it's like. So it's a pain in the ass, to be honest with you. And basically it is just what it sounds like, hiccups. So if you ever had hiccups, you know that, normally you can get rid of them by drinking a glass of water and plugging your ears and whatever other fairy tale people tell you. But not that easy for me. Unfortunately, I do have some medications that are supposed to help. They don't seem to help much at all, though. So I just kind of get rid of them by not talking, actually, which is, kind of productive right now. But basically by not talking, trying to relax as much as possible, and just letting them kind of disappear, hopefully. So I did want to tell you before we came too much farther in these daily vlogs about how I got here. So if you guys are watching me for the first time, I did want to tell you a little bit of the backstory about how I found out. That was a good one. How I found out about the cancer and how the chemo treatments have gone up until this point. So it all basically pretty much started for me back in February of last year. So exactly 1 year ago today, pretty much. I started. I've been having chest pains for a little while, off and on, but I started getting them even worse right around January and February of 2021. So I decided to go see the cardiologist at one of my local hospitals, and they ran some tests, did a stress test, and things like that, and discovered I had a partially clogged artery or valve in my chest. So just a small one, thankfully. But they put me on medications, I think 4 different ones, to try to help with the chest pain that I was having, and the fatigue and tiredness that I was having as well at the same time. So none of those medications really worked, though, and unfortunately I had to go back in for more tests. And actually, when we went back in for more tests, we discovered that my hemoglobin counts were very low. And for those of you who don't know what hemoglobin is, I have my resident nurse / wife here to help out with that. So hemoglobins have something to do with a low blood count, but she can tell you a little bit more about it.
Well, it has to do with the transport of oxygen on the red blood cell. But yes, it's that your red count was low, that you were losing blood somewhere. And we thought, because you were getting like pain shooting up in here, like acid reflux, we were thinking that maybe he had some type of bleeding ulcer is what we were figuring it was going to be.
So they scheduled me for some tests, and I finally got in for the tests. They took a little while. It took a couple of months to get in for the test, but eventually I did, right around April of last year. And indeed, I did actually definitely have a bleeding ulcer. It was a really large ulcer as well, and a very deep ulcer.
July, actually.
July when I got in for the test. So it was a really long time before I got in for the test. But yes, they did discover a deep and large ulcer in my stomach. And it did unfortunately have characteristics of cancer, so they did more tests on it, and lo and behold, now I'm here with stage 4 cancer. All right, good timers. So it is still day 2 here, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and the hiccups seem to have gone away, for at least right now anyways. And yeah, the only real side effects I'm having right now is some neuropathy in my legs and my hands. My feet don't seem to be having it too bad, but definitely in my hands, definitely in my feet, a little bit in my throat and lips as well. But so basically, if those of you that aren't familiar, neuropathy is when you're very sensitive to either hot or cold. And I'm very sensitive to the cold, apparently. So basically, if I touch something that's really cold, or I put something on my mouth that's really cold, it basically feels like kind of pins and needles. So if you guys are familiar with frostbite, that's pretty much what it feels like, is frostbite. So it, yeah, isn't very comfortable. So usually I have Simone pour any cold liquids and stuff like that into glasses for me, and that seems to help. And I use forks and knives and tongs and things like that when I'm eating or I'm picking up cold food and stuff like that. The other thing that sometimes happens is my appetite, or my taste buds, I should say, get a little funky and stuff tastes metallic. That hasn't happened yet, so hopefully it won't. But if it does, then I usually use plasticware, plastic forks and plastic spoons. So if that does happen, I'll let you guys know. But I want to talk to you a little bit about the kind of treatment I'm on. And I am doing basically immunotherapy and chemotherapy. So I'm doing what they call FOLFOX, and that's a fairly common therapy that they use for both gastric cancer, which is what I have, and also colon cancers. So basically, FOLFOX is an acronym for the different medicines that are in it, and it is basically 3 major ones. So the FOL stands for folonic acid, I should say. The F stands for fluorosil, and then the OX stands for oxaliplatin. So oxaliplatin is actually what causes most of the side effects, which is kind of weird. But that's the one that they reduced 20% for me after my third treatment in cycle 1, simply because I was starting to lose a little bit of hair and I was having such major side effects. So they reduced that one for me. But still on the other ones, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the side effects here. And I am reading off a couple pieces of paper, so if you see me looking down, that's probably why. But most of the side effects for FOLFOX are tingling and burning feeling in your arms and legs. I do have that burning feeling in my legs. I'm not sure if you would call that neuropathy or not, but definitely both legs have that, and it kind of comes and goes. I have an increased bleeding risk, so if I do cut myself, I do tend to bleed a little bit more than normal. Low white blood cells, I do have that, and that causes a little bit of anemia, which I also have. Anemia is when you're low red blood cells, I should say. Both low white blood cells and red blood cells, if I can spit it out here, are what causes me to be pretty tired, and that's the anemia. So nausea has been off and on today, but it hasn't been too bad. Diarrhea I haven't had, thankfully, yet today. Normally that comes about 3 or 4 days after the chemo. So vomiting I haven't had any issues with, so that's good. Fatigue is definitely something I've experienced. Mouth sores, don't have any of those. Loss of appetite, that kind of comes and goes, and I'll touch a little bit more about that when I do have the loss of appetite. Right now, my appetite's pretty good, so no constipation issues. Haven't had any fevers, really. Abdominal pain, not too bad once in a while. Usually after I go to the bathroom, that kind of disappears. So definitely have some weakness that goes along with the fatigue, obviously. No blisters or anything like that. A lot of people get blisters on their hands and feet. I haven't had that issue. No allergic reactions, no blood clots, and no neuropenic fever as well. So those are the major side effects. I've only had probably half of those, thankfully, so hopefully that continues along. All right, good timers. I almost forgot I wanted to show you this chemo ball. If you remember yesterday, it was pretty well solid. It would take a whole lemon, but today, as you can see, it is starting to shrivel up there. If you can see through the package here, I hope. You can see, I can move my finger across it, and you can see it shrinking. So it's probably gone down at least, I would say, probably a quarter, maybe even a half. So tomorrow, that's going to be shrunk even more. It's going to be really shriveled up tomorrow. But you can see the progress. That's how you know it's working. If it was the same size today as it was yesterday, I would know if there was some issue going on and that I wasn't getting the full chemo dosage that I was supposed to. As far as dosages go, this is actually the Fluorosil. So this is the first part of the FOLFOX, which is kind of weird. They kind of reversed the two. But yeah, this is the Fluorosil from the FOLFOX chemo treatment that I'm on. And this basically is the home infusion pump, and it goes from anywhere from 44 to 46 hours. And hello again, good timers. So we are just wrapping up day 2, and today's actually been a really good day for me. Surprisingly enough, I had very little nausea today, if any, really. I didn't really have much of it all. Didn't really have any diarrhea, which is great. Trust me, any day without that is a good day. And yeah, neuropathy. I definitely had some neuropathy in my fingers. Those were hurting quite a bit today. But other than that, that was really the only side effect today that I've had. So that's good. Obviously, once again, most of my side effects do happen after the chemo comes off. So I'm not definitely not out of the woods yet. But today was a good day. So that's what I like. Mixing some good days with some bad days makes it a little bit more bearable that way. So, like I mentioned yesterday, we are going to do a question of the day. We've had a few of our friends and Facebook acquaintances write in some questions for us. So we're just going to go ahead and pick one out today. We're not going to say any names, who asked them or anything like that, mainly because I don't remember who asked half of them. But these are the ones that people actually asked, so we'll try to answer them as best as we can. And today's question of the day is...
What did we think that chemo was going to be like before treatment? Like, what?
All right, so what were we expecting chemo treatments to be like? Well, from my standpoint, I can tell you that I was expecting it to be a lot worse. Obviously, like I said, it started out pretty bad when I can't remember 4 days of my life over in Boston, but since then, things have been pretty well uneventful, really, to be honest with you. Did have that small part where I lost my hair a little bit, but nothing major. I guess for me, I watched a little bit too much of that movie, Dying Young, that Julia Roberts starred in way back when. Great movie, but if you're going to have cancer later on, it's a little bit scary if you watch that movie first. So yeah, I kind of expected to be vomiting like, I don't know, 6 out of 7 days a week, pretty much. But I actually haven't vomited at all, I don't think.
Yeah,
Had a lot of
yeah.
dry heaving, but
Yeah.
maybe a little bit of vomiting towards the beginning. But the past 2 months I've been pretty good. So, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. I expected to be very, very weak, like, Simone helping me to the bathroom and things like that. I expected to be sick a lot. And really not much of that has happened yet, and knock on wood, it won't. So that's kind of what I was expecting, and I've been pleasantly surprised that it hasn't been nearly that bad. Been bad enough, trust me. I'm pretty exhausted and pretty tired all the time, but at least I can still walk. I can still pretty much function on my daily activities that I want to do. And yeah, overall, it's not as bad as I had anticipated, so that's good. Okay, guys, so it's almost 11 o'clock now. We're supposed to be at the hospital 11:30, so we are pretty much heading out here, and they're going to disconnect the chemo bag here, or chemo ball, or whatever you want to call it, and then they're going to put the Nolasta On Pro underneath my arm. So we'll show you the Nolasta On Pro later, obviously. But right now I wanted to show you what this the lemon looks like. We've made all the lemonade we're going to make, I think. As you can see, that is shriveled right up to the point of pretty much nothing in there now. Let's see if I can get you a better shot of it. Kind of in there we go. But yes, all shriveled up, guys. There's not much left in there except a little bit of air and rubber, and that's it. So yeah, they'll go and disconnect that as soon as we get there, but that's pretty much everything in there is gone. So all right, I'm feeling terrible for an update. So a lot of nausea, very weak and tired, but I'm going to get fluids when I'm there. That's going to last about an hour. Fluids basically are like Gatorade. It's watered down. Got a lot of salt in there, potassium, probably some other stuff as well. But basically it's the Gatorade infusion I'm going to be getting here for the next hour, and then we'll be back home, and I'll hang out in my favorite chair the rest of the day. So, all right, we'll see you guys as soon as that's all done. So we are back from the hospital now. Just got my fluids in me here. We've got about 2 hours, so I do feel a little bit more energized now than I did this morning. The nausea has pretty much gone away, which is great. And yeah, feeling a little bit more awake. Still a little tired because I haven't gotten much sleep, but the fluids definitely helps me, and not feeling nearly as weak and tired and exhausted as I was here earlier today when I talked to you. So I do want to show you this Nolasta On Pro. So what this is, they if you can see that now, there you go. So they put that on me right at the end of chemo, basically, and what happens is about 30 hours from now, it's going to pump some fluids into me that'll help regenerate my white blood cells. So that's what that does. It only takes about 5 or 10 minutes once it actually starts going, but they do wait about 30 hours after chemo ends for that to dispense. So, but yeah, it doesn't take long once it does, and then that whole patch will just come off and get thrown away in the trash, and then I can finally do things that I like to do, like take a shower and actually, sleep normally and all that good stuff. So, all right, we will talk to you guys here a little bit later. Thanks. So, guys, I did want to talk to you a little bit about a few things here. Pretty much, I wanted to talk to you about being there for your loved ones during this time of chemo and cancer. And hopefully I don't say this so it doesn't sound too rude, so I'm not trying to be a prick here or anything, but I just wanted to know, or wanted you guys to know, what it feels like from a patient's standpoint. First of all, let me say that during this, the first month especially, I felt so much love from everybody. And I mean, it was really overwhelming. People that I haven't talked to in years got in contact with me. Relatives that I don't talk to very often, contacted me. And lots of my Facebook friends, lots of YouTube friends, as you guys know, we're big on YouTube, obviously. And we've got the whole YouTube community really reached out and helped us out a lot here. And since then, obviously, I've gotten tons and tons of texts and tons of phone calls and emails and things in the mail, cards, gift packs, and all that stuff. And all that stuff is so great, guys. I mean, I love that you guys are all thinking of me, and it's awesome. And I don't know how else to put it besides that. It's overwhelming and it's awesome, and I really do appreciate it. In that same breath, though, guys, there are days that sometimes I just don't feel like talking about it. There are times where people will text me and ask me how I'm doing, and I might ignore their text for a day or two, or I might just text back, doing fine, thanks. I don't always want to talk about it, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. As a cancer patient, trust me, you know that you have cancer, and you know it all the time, and you think about it all the time. I mean, you can't really even get away from it. Even on vacation, when I was in Las Vegas on vacation, the cancer was on my mind most of the vacation. I mean, you don't want to overdo it. When you do overdo it, you know it pretty quickly because you get real tired real easy. So you don't need any reminders that you have cancer. And people love to check up on you because they're curious about you, obviously, and they're concerned and they care, and I understand that. But sometimes, guys, sometimes it can get a little overwhelming because you just don't want to talk about it anymore. It gets very tiring of talking about it and feeling sick a lot and things like that. So I guess what I'm trying to say is don't take it personally. If your loved ones don't reach out to you as much as you might want them to, or if they don't respond as quickly as you might want them to, just understand what they're going through as well, guys. It's hard for everybody, obviously, but for the patient themselves, sometimes it's better not to even talk about it. I mean, when I don't feel well, I don't feel well. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to go on any YouTube premieres. I don't want to talk on the phone for 20 minutes. I don't want to text for 20 minutes. I just want to shut the world out. And sometimes that's what we got to do. Sometimes it helps, shut the world out, take a little nap for an hour, and I feel better after that. But I guess what I'm trying to say, guys, is just try to have patience and understanding with your patient, basically, or with your loved one. So, and an email or an email or text or whatever once a week is great. But try not to bother them every day, I guess is what I'm saying. So hopefully they didn't come across too much, and hopefully you guys can understand where I'm coming from. So.
Okay.
Hey, good timers. Well, it's about 7 o'clock here at night now. Still on day 3, I believe, of the chemo. Chemo actually is done now. So now we're just looking at a couple of days of side effects, hopefully, that aren't going to be too bad. But this morning was a little rough, as you guys saw. This afternoon was a little bit better. And tonight, I would say we're right in the middle. So I don't feel like I've been hit by a truck. I kind of feel like maybe I've been backed into by, like, a car, slowly. Like, if someone was backing into me and hit my leg. Kind of feels like that right now. So, not terrible.
Why is it I'm driving the car?
Not terrible, but not perfect. Yeah. And just like someone's driving. Not terrible, but not perfect. Anyways.
Rude.
She is finding a question of the day for us, guys. And we'll answer that for you here as soon as she comes up with one. Have you got one, Simone?
What about... Okay, so if I can read my own writing. I gotta go get my glasses.
All right. She got to go get her reading glasses
I
on.
can see
All
it.
right. All right.
See it. Let's put it out here.
Okay.
What makes the bad days a bit more bearable?
What makes the bad days a bit more bearable? I guess this is a question it could be a question for you too, because when I have bad days, your days don't always go so good either, because you're the one that has to pick up the pieces for me, basically. So, what makes my bad days more bearable? Actually, the good days make my bad days more bearable. I cherish the good days that I do have, because I know that usually after one good day, the next day doesn't go so well. Very rare, unfortunately, that I have 3 or 4 good days in a row. But all those good moments, make up hopefully for the bad ones, or make it more tolerable. They don't make up for them, but they make it more tolerable. The other thing is my friends. I mean, I quite often will talk on Facebook Messenger to various people, and that kind of passes the time as well. And I would say the third thing that makes it more bearable is just basically TV, reading on the computer, looking at stuff on the computer, anything that takes my mind off from how bad I feel, basically, to be honest with you. Yeah, so anything that takes my mind off of feeling bad makes my days better. Sleep helps a lot too. Wish I had more of that here recently, but yeah. So I would say good friends, good days, and good TV shows make the bad days more bearable. What do you think, Simone?
I would agree. Making partially light of crap situations,
Yes.
Yeah.
Making crappy situations better. There's a lot of crappy situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway. Yeah, so actually, you know what? Number 4, I would say Imodium AD. Imodium AD makes the bad days better. Yeah. So there you go, guys. Imodium AD is number 4. All right. I think that's it for right now, guys. If anything else changes tonight, I'll let you know. But if not, then we will see you tomorrow on day 4. See ya.